Barcelona. The club say the clause for him to leave has expired and that they want to build their new team around him. On the day fans are protesting outside the stadium, we asked strike along the Texas-Louisiana coastline as Hurricane Laura intensifies in the Gulf. The National Hurricane Center just upgraded Laura to a Category 4 storm, and it is expected to make landfall sometime after midnight. Today, the National Hurricane Center is warning that Laura's storm surge could be, and this is a direct quote from them, unsurvivable. They are forecasting surges of up to 20 feet above ground level in parts of coastal Texas and Louisiana. Over 500,000 people have been told to evacuate, and if they want to get out in time, they have got to do it soon. That evacuation is understandably more complicated, though, in the middle of a pandemic. So last hour, Louisiana's governor urged his residents to do two things: seek safety from the storm and the virus.
Don't solely pay attention to the storm. Understand we still have this COVID situation, and everything we do, we need to be wearing the mask. We need to be practicing social distancing, good hygiene, get out of harm's way if there's an evacuation order in place, whether it's mandatory or voluntary, and understand our state hasn't seen a storm surge like this in many, many decades.
Both are potentially life-threatening, so keep yourself safe. Joining us now for the latest on the storm's track is the Today Show's Al Roker, and with me from Port Arthur, Texas, is NBC News correspondent Sam Brock. So, Al, two things. What is the track? And I don't think I've heard the National Hurricane Center call storm surges unsurvivable in the past. What does that mean?
Well, Katie, I've been talking amongst our meteorologists at the NBC News Climate Unit, and nobody has ever heard the National Hurricane Center use that term. And what that basically means is, at a 20-foot storm surge, you are not going to survive that. It is going to wash over everything, take everything out of its path. People don't realize how violent water can be moving at a certain speed. This is the latest on Laura, as you said, a Category 4 storm, and it is fairly wide, 400 miles in diameter. It is 200 miles south-southeast of Lake Charles, Louisiana. You can see the rain bands now just south of New Orleans, all the way to just east of Houston. 140-mile-per-hour winds. It's moving northwest at 60. The path of this will bring it onshore along the Louisiana-Texas border sometime late tonight, early tomorrow morning, as a Category 4 storm, and then continue on up into the Mississippi River Valley, still very potent, bringing a lot of heavy rain with it. Now, these impacts, we're talking about the storm surge, Katie. This is critical. We're talking a storm surge from Galveston, it's about 6 to 9 feet, but as you get toward Port Arthur, 10 to 15 feet, south of Lake Charles, 15 to 20 feet. That is life-threatening, large, destructive waves. This is a storm surge that could move inland 30 miles, almost to I-10. The river there, the river's record flood stage was 13. This may actually be almost 3 feet above that over the next 24 to 48 hours. The storm surge, to put it in simpler terms, it's the deadliest hurricane threat. It's that wall of wind pushing that water on. 3 feet is considered life-threatening. However, 6 feet causes significant damage. The weight of that water blows out walls, breaks through doors and windows, and when you get to 9 feet, that's when it starts to move inland much further, and entire neighborhoods can be destroyed. And the wind field with this will bring in damaging winds, knocking out power for days. You can see there, Katie, the possibility, the potential of power outages go all the way up into southern Missouri and parts of Illinois and Indiana. And of course, we've got rain, widespread flash flooding, Gulf Coast to the Mississippi River Valley. River flooding is going to be a big problem. We're talking locally 15 inches of rain. Hurricane watches and warnings now stretch all the way up into Arkansas. So this is potentially a catastrophic situation. And the biggest problem is with this storm surge, Katie, is that it's going to happen in the middle of the night. You're not going to be able to see the storm surge coming. And with these wind speeds, that water is going to come up awfully fast.
We say potentially not to warn anybody that they don't need to take it seriously, but because we don't know exactly how the storm will behave when it does make landfall, but you don't want to take those risks. Potentially should be enough to make you get out of the areas that are under mandatory evacuations and to seek some safety.
Yeah.
So we plead with you, if you happen to be at home and watching this from one of these areas. Sam Brock, you're